Oh,
It's because Heather has to be here anyway.
I'll go.
So Jeremy, if you want to come up for probably questions. So there's two things for capital for facilities. One is replacing the carpet at Central Office Building. And then the second is for automatic doors, for the back doors at both the town hall and the Central Office Building. Did anybody have any questions on those?
so that 28,000 is both of those.
The 20,400, the carpet is the 28,000.
Oh, I see it split that way, yeah. And LBT, that's, I assume it's some type of linoleum product.
Really luxury value.
And extra ease on upkeep and maintenance and all that, is that, you know, is it just so destroyed by constant use?
So it's not destroyed, the building actually, it has a smell and it's wet. And so there's been issues over pretty much since we moved back there, and with people having breathing issues or just, you know, kind of sick building. It's been, we've had air quality studies that show that everything's fine, but a few years ago now, we pulled out the carpet in the planning department, which seemed to help, but we also have it filled throughout the building. So the thought is if we can just pull it out, hopefully that will address some of the issues.
Okay. So that's basically to replace anything that's left carpeted over there.
Correct. All the carpet's coming out, all the vinyl floor will be going in.
Is the plan to do that here as well? Because
Not
we don't
yet.
have that moisture.
Not at this point. Well, occasionally you pick up a little smell here, but we have not had the issues. So we're going to hold for now here. There's no reason to create havoc if we don't need to.
Okay. Right. You know, automatic doors are exactly what they sound, those handicap accessible, you hit the button, the door's open.
Yeah, so, yeah, this is something for 4 years we've been trying to do, and it's just for whatever reason, we've had slowdowns on it. But we have had people on the first floor coming in that entrance with wheelchairs who've had difficulty getting in with the way that foyer is, and it just, while it's technically compliant, it just doesn't seem right to not have people in wheelchairs be able to get in the door of town hall.
So would that necessitate re-engineering and restructuring the whole
No.
door frame down in there to
No,
make
it-
them fit?
No,
No,
the
this is
frames are
automatic.
fine, yeah.
So the automatic doors, we replaced the door in the front already, it has the crash bar in the center, it's gonna be something to that effect where they can redo the doors with an automatic opener and closer. And it'll be-
It's, the cost is really in the electronics of it, not no structural.
And we've gone to the historical commission to make sure they approve it? Everything on this thing has to be,
Yeah, there's no structural change, so there's no actual.
yeah, but it's gotta look the part too. So it's not like you
I
can
don't think
replace
you
those.
see, I don't think you see, you won't change it, it's only the button. It's a button and
The
wire.
door should stay the
Yeah.
same because it's just a automatic open and closer at the top. It's
Yeah.
gonna open these extra doors, it's gonna close that door.
The door is still the same
So the
door.
weight of the doors have no factor in it? because they're-
Apparently not.
The hinges are holding all the weight, so the hinges are staying, the door's staying, it's just that instead of using your arm for it, the automatic door's gonna open and close.
Gene, you don't think that'll trip a historic, right?
No, and I mean, there are accessibility improvements that has to be made, so it's not like, I mean, even if we were putting a ramp, I mean, as we found out with the Blackington building,
Yep.
it doesn't really matter, it has to be done.
The library has the automatic doors, the public safety complex has the automatic doors. The doors themselves, though, they don't change, it's just the opener and closer that get mounted to the ceiling.
Except in those two projects, no money was taken from the CPC, and the CPC, when the money came into these two buildings, were adamant that buildings had to use the appropriate materials and have the appropriate look.
It won't
So
change
that's how
the
we weren't
appearance.
able to
Yeah.
change the roof, we weren't able to change
Yeah.
the windows.
This is,
This is different. And so the center office building has a historic preservation restriction on it, but even that doesn't mean that you don't comply with handicap accessibility requirements. And it really is just a button, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
the door is still the same door. It's still a period looking door. Yeah, it's still the same door.
In $20,400?
It's 12.2 for one and 8.2 for the other one.
So is there any contingency on that, since you got quotes 6 months ago?
I added 10%. I talked to Brown, and he said just add 10%. So I added 10%.
The other thing too is, Kevin, they're the back doors, so they're not what you're seeing from the street. Yeah,
It didn't seem to affect their opinions when, whether it was back, front, side.
no, that's fine.
Yeah, that's right. I just want to make sure before,
Yeah.
we take it on
No,
and someone
absolutely.
starts complaining.
No,
Yep.
That's fine.
I added cameras to both buildings, and I think the cameras, will take more away from the building than these doors will. And they said yes to the cameras.
Oh, good.
So, if that means anything.
No, it does. Maybe they're lessening their purity stance.
Or elevating accessibility, at least in this case, so, yeah.
It's a different commission.
I'm good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, well, so the chief has two requests, two requests. So one is office furniture for families and the department, and then the Kobe Cruise cruiser that is usually, so as you know, we usually budget 2 police cruisers as part of the operating budget. We were not able to do that last year. We purchased one from Capital. We are doing the same thing this year.
So only one vehicle?
Only one vehicle, with the exception of the actual cost for the cruiser is $107,063. We're able to put $16,550 in the operating budget under the operating budget. So we're only asking for the difference from free cash.
So Kevin, if I could, I know we had talked last year about this, and I was adamant that I was going to try to get these back into the operating budget. Obviously, we are tight, and we're tight even in the fact that we're just buying one again this year. So we made the best faith effort that we could with whatever room and whatever we could find, and we scrambled, Barbara and I scrambled to find some money to make some effort to start moving this back into the operating budget, because it's not healthy to keep it in the capital.
No. I'm sorry, I missed the first number. You said it was originally 107,000.
It is.
The actual cruiser is 107,063.
Mhm.
16,550 will be funded from the operating capital and the operating budget.
Mhm.
And so from free cash is the 90,513. So this cruiser in the capital is exactly,
Oh, thank you.
is only the vehicles that we normally buy every single year. It's not any additional vehicles, only the actual police cruisers.
And it's
So-
just split across both budgets.
So, what are we buying for $107,000? Because I'm a little concerned about the fleet the police department has in the vehicles they're buying. We see one vehicle labeled traffic unit, traffic support, yet it might as well be a Ford Expedition. The thing is monstrous. So if it's just being used for special events to control traffic or stuff like that, why do we have to buy such a gigantic vehicle?
Well, we switched to the Tahoe a couple of years back. We purchased our first one in 2019. Like I said at the town meeting last year, when I was asked about it, these are the officers' offices. They sit in these vehicles for 8 hours, sometimes 16 hours a day. They have so much equipment in those vehicles, rescue equipment, weapons, and so on, and computers and printers, and the officers find it much more comfortable. They have a little more room quite a bit more room than the Ford Explorers. And I think it's $4,000 to $5,000 difference in price from one vehicle to the other. We made the decision, or I made the decision to move forward with the Chevy Tahoes. Just like every other community around here that you see, they're all transitioning into the Chevy Tahoe. It's a better police vehicle. We find it better for our operations.
And I also think, to your question, the vehicle that we buy will go as a cruiser. The traffic vehicle, for example, is a pass down, right?
The
Traffic.
traffic unit that is written on there like that, it's more, it's still a patrol vehicle. It's still used for patrol, it responds to calls, it does everything. But that particular officer, and when he's in it during the daytime, he does all the complaints, which is the majority of our complaints, just speeding on my road, you know, we got this traffic problem on this road. It's more of a community type of thing to say, hey, we take traffic safety serious. Here we are, we're in your neighborhood, and we're addressing your needs and your requests.
And does it, I mean, I'm gonna ask, I don't think it does, but does it cost any more to outfit that? Because I know that the vinyl sidings, things you slab on the side of the vehicles. Because every other vehicle has the same thing, and this one is different.
No, there's no difference in the price.
I hear it's a heart versus mind thing in a way, because my initial reaction when I first saw it is this is to have a specialized unit, and this is what I was thinking, because I had no idea. I see it labeled traffic unit. It's basically looks like it's doing speed patrol, you know, radar patrol. And it's like, why do we need a specialized vehicle for $100,000 to just do speed
It's
traffic?
not a specialized vehicle, it just has a label, this is traffic unit on it.
But
It's a
Brad told me
regular
the impression it gives people who don't know.
Yeah.
And so it looks like, you know, as a taxpayer, I'm paying for a specialized vehicle that has one purpose only, and it's not being used for anything else. So what's it doing, you know, when
It
it's
is,
sitting the other
it responds to 911 calls, that vehicle is used for everything else that a regular patrol vehicle. The only difference is it says traffic unit on it. So when we're in your neighborhood, because you requested us, you get to see us and go, oh my God, they answered our call, this is the traffic vehicle, which we get a lot of
I
complaints
would say our
about
biggest call, into one of our biggest calls into the police department, the biggest complaint I get is speeding. So people do like to see the traffic unit. He could send another cruiser out. If that traffic unit's tied up and
Right.
someone wants speed patrol, another cruiser can go do speed control.
Right.
This
They're all
one-
equipped with radar. It's more of a thing for the public to see, and when they see us in the neighborhood, with the traffic, they just called and made a complaint. They feel like their needs are being taken care of and addressed by the department. We get a very positive response. In fact, nothing negative when that car is in the community, mostly just thank you so much for being here.
We also do respond to complaints of people who want changes like road dieting or traffic dieting, and we'll send DPW out and the chief will send the traffic unit out. So a lot of times if we're meeting with the public on site, we'll go out to people's homes when we get complaints. If that unit is around and out and available, you're gonna send the unit that says traffic to that.
We'll do speed studies in the neighborhood,
Right.
so they'll
We do them a
they'll
lot.
call the trailer and we'll set up a speed study for a certain amount of time. We'll go back to the complaining party when we're done, say we do a 3 weeks stint on the road, we'll go back and say, you had 1,000 cars that drove by your house. 20 of them were going 5 miles per hour over the speed limit, and we give them the data back. And sometimes we have to say, you don't really have a speeding problem on this road. Or yes, this is the times where we need to be here. From 3 to 4 in the afternoon is where we're getting the complaints. So that officer, he's a regular patrol officer. He focuses on traffic. And if somebody calls him sick or whatever, he's just assigned to regular patrol.
Does that vehicle and your cameras that you're using, they have equipped with cameras?
Yep.
So they monitor, like he can just sit in the side of the road and monitor? I guess what I'm asking is because I think of all the time, this is just my experience with having to cross the street to get my mail. I'm either nearly getting clipped, or I've got someone going around me, going on the other side of the road, not allowing me to cross the road. I've never seen a police officer, no, you know, I know you're a big town, got a lot of things, but I mean if you had a unit that would tape that, and then you could cite the person who's decided he's going to cross lanes. Matter of fact, I've gotten passed on my road trying to take a left turn in my driveway, and people come up and around the corner and decide to pass me. So I always have to look in my rearview mirror before I can take the left into my
If we have a
driveway.
traffic
So
complaint, we'd be happy to send somebody
So what
else.
happens is that's exactly the kind of call we get,
Yeah.
Kevin. You illustrated exactly the kind of call that comes into my office or email, and we will send them out.
Right.
As far as recording and ticketing, that's like traffic cameras, and that's a whole different legislatively, there's a lot of legality that goes with that. I mean, if the board and the town wanted to move that direction, that's a whole different thing. But from the standpoint of traffic, if he happens to be there, his dash cam's on certainly.
I digressed there. I went
Yeah.
completely.
But I mean, no, it's
So
an
how
issue.
many-
It's an issue
So
for
how
procurement.
many usable vehicles does the police department have at its disposal?
Well, we have 10 line cars that are actively used. Then we have 3 administrative vehicles.
So the 10 line cars, 3 patrol vehicles on each shift, and 1 is the court officer?
It depends. The court officer does have he's assigned to a vehicle as well, but it's not just that. So maybe we try to only keep 2 people per vehicle assigned, so we're not hot seat in the car, so we get more life out of them. When I say hot seat, running 24/7 around the clock. So we do 2 officers, and each cruiser usually is assigned to 2 shifts per day. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but we would run a minimum of 2 cars on the road at a time. So if there is, 4 people on or whatever, everybody will be able to get a vehicle. So the court officer has to take a police car to the court because he has to transport prisoners, obviously. So he has access to his car.
And I will
So-
say a standard replacement policy, and the town had in the past done 2. In the past few years, we've only been able to do 1, and
This
we're
was 2.
managing. But it is 2, the town is 2, and it is, a standard replacement policy really is important on these. I mean, it's a little frustrating, we haven't been able to do the 2, but at least the
And we
1.
repurpose of vehicles as they go down. We'll have a couple spares in the back, and those are used for the traffic details that you see with the construction jobs going on. Because they're sitting there, they got a lot of miles, a lot of hours on them. I don't want them, I let those older cars be the ones that, if they die, when they die, so, those spare cars are used for traffic details. The town actually does make a little bit of money off of them when they're out there. They get 10% fee charged back, yeah.
Now, we were going, or we're in the process of taking a full asset inventory on what we were going to, replacement policy across all of the departments. Has that been formulated yet?
Well, the police already had one, I mean, the replacement policy there is
So
2.
8,000,
Yeah.
that was in the budget.
And you
for
got
last
that
year,
in the
right,
book,
part of
yeah.
and part of the
Yeah,
appendix.
because DPW was the big one we were
So
talking
it's
about with
still
that
not.
as well.
We can't comply with it yet, because we just don't have funds.
Well, I know that it doesn't necessarily require us to do it, but it certainly is the goal. Would I want to buy 2? Sure, but I mean, we just can't this year. We couldn't last year, hopefully we will be able to again. But at least at minimum, the other thing we did review is the mileage on them. And you want to be careful that you don't push them too far because of the type of mileage that they do use. This year, we looked at what the chief had, he certainly would have loved to, I know. But when we looked at the mileage of the frontline fleet, it's still relatively on the low end that we can weather another year before we get to the point where, oh gosh, we've got 4 of them and now we're in trouble because we got to replace 4 cars. So, I mean, we don't want to kick the can to a point that now you're behind the 8 ball and you have to buy a lot. That's why maintaining at 1, even though we couldn't put it all in the operating budget, at least will hold us looking at the life still left, hopefully, on the cars that we have. We can make 1 work for another year. Would I advise it again next year? No. No.
And these are fully ICE vehicles, right? They're not hybrids.
They're regular,
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Gasoline vehicles, yeah. The one thing to remember is they can only be passed down within the department, just as a reminder to anybody who might be watching, because at Green Communities, we cannot pass them down to other departments anymore. So we can't take the Explorers and give them to the fleet, like the town hall fleet. We can't give them to the building official anymore. Like in the old days, you'd see an old Crown Vic with the building official driving around in a community. Because we are a green community, we are not allowed to do that anymore. It can be repurposed within the same department, I believe, that it's purchased in, but that's it. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, because some of those cruises, when they retire out from there with 100,000, are perfectly fine for, us to be driving around
Court
town.
vehicles,
Yeah,
detective
absolutely,
vehicles,
sure.
whatever.
They can stay within that department.
Animal
yeah.
control,
Yeah.
a lot of times the animal control gets the last.
Yeah,
before-
so we can repurpose within that. But if we wanted to say, give conservation, one of our fleet vehicles that conservation might be using, the building official might be using, we would, in the old days, take one of those Explorers or the old Crown Vics and just put that into our fleet and get a few more years of life out of it. But that just unfortunately is not per the green community's regulations. It's one of those hidden costs.
Yep. Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
All right, so the next thing was can I have this back?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Uh,
That's something to have. Thank you.
The next is the office furniture.
Yes. We're looking to renew our office furniture where the officers sit and do their reports, sometimes have general public in for interviews or whatnot. I included a couple pictures you can see, like with the chairs that they're sitting in, the desk from 1970, torn, ripped, and this is where, they're interviewing people, bringing it, and it's not really not the image that I like from members, bringing out the people in the public into torn or ripped tattered chairs and desks that don't work and stuff. So we're looking to replace that whole office furniture, I think, with 4 stations, and repaint the room and the ceiling, so just so the officers have a nicer place to work.
I don't have a problem with that.
Anybody else?
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Next is refurbishment of engine number 1.
Okay, that's a good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now you.
Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Hey. Hi.
Okay, so if you look at the information that I provided to you, so this is a major overhaul and refurbishment of engine 1, which is a 2010 E1 pumper. The body of the truck is showing significant signs of rust and rot, some of the premature aging. They're attributing due to caustic materials used to treat the roads. The cost of the new pumper is approaching $1 million. However, Chief feels that the bones of the truck still have a lot of life in them, and that refurbishment may prolong its use for another 20 to 25 years. Now, obviously, there's no guarantees of that,
Right.
but that is what they hope.
And this is just complete soup to nuts. You're gonna basically gut it and build it from the inside back out, so you're changing your
No,
truck
it's not
tank.
getting repowered. It's a lot of shocks, a lot of like support systems, a lot of electrical work that is just corroded and it's just not working the way it did 16 years ago. It shocks, taking care of some leaks in the pump. Again, and a lot of the electrical work, some rubber rails. We've put about $8,000 worth of work in this truck just this fiscal year, just to keep it on the road. And anytime something goes wrong, surprise, we're taking it out of service unexpectedly, and it causes angst and problems for us. So we just like to get it tightened up. It's a 16-year-old truck, and at its current trajectory, I'd say we'd be lucky, we could probably get 4 more years out of it, 20 years. But if we put some time and effort and money into it now, I see it lasting for at least 25 years, because looking at the replacement costs, they just keep going up. So we can probably extend the life of this truck. It's like the chief noted, the bones are still good, but it just needs a lot of additional work. The body is rotting, and again, the electrical systems are just not lasting. This was kind of a discount truck to begin with. So I think, we would have been lucky to get 20 years out of it, but with some little investment now, we'll be able to extend that. I would hope at least 5 years, hopefully more.
You would extend it more than that, right? 20, you're saying 20 to 25 years.
Not 20,
Not
not 20 to 25 additional, 25 to plus years total.
Instead of only getting 20.
Well, the way it's written here says for another
So
20 to
that's
25
what I
years.
asked the chief about the other day, and he said another. So you're saying total?
Yeah, I'd say we should be able to get 25 to 30 years out of it.
And we've got how many on it now?
16.
16.
60 years.
So you're almost.
So at least
doubling
about
its life.
10 years, at least 10 more
We'll
years.
get another 10 years out of it.
But for 350,000. So I guess the question is just,
And the 350 is still in flux. We're still communicating with the vendor. They had a change of personnel, so they looked at it again and said they could probably do it for less. And again, we put at least $8,000 into it just this fiscal year, and we put money into it last year. So some of the things that we were originally looking to have done, we've already had to do on an emergency basis just to keep the truck on the road.
Does it include undercoating the whole truck?
It is going to get undercoated. That's something that wasn't done initially, and that we do on everything now.
You laugh.
No, I know, I agree. The
It's a
salt
huge
is-
difference.
Yeah. I understand, I mean, I'm getting, I don't know this for a fact, but the impression I had with what you sent to us for this meeting is that you two went through I'm gonna assume usually there's 30, 40, 50 requests, and you numbered it down to some minimal things. Now, the fire department in prior years had a lot of big ticket items coming, especially the ladder truck. But I don't see anything about the ladder truck mentioned at all, and
Well, the ladder truck isn't moving forward this year, so you'll see the ladder truck will be,
It's 20.
it'll be part of the 5-year capital plan, and we'll see it for next year.
We initially, I
it
will
was
say
in the
this,
5-year
we-
capital plan for this year. One of the ones I went looking at, but it was.
It might have, but
Yeah.
again, the whole thing with that 5-year capital plan is it's always, it's a moving document, right? So you can't, 9 out of 10 times, you can't look and see like what it said 2027 would be in 2026 budget book, and
Yeah.
have it be the same things, because other things happen and other things come up.
Yep.
And then, yes, Robin has been doing things differently that have been done in the past, so instead of every request coming to the capital committee, she has reviewed with the department heads the requests that were made, and then she, with them, has made the determination of what can move forward, because it doesn't make any sense to get $5 million worth of requests when we can't afford $5 million worth of expenses. So yes, it is,
I also, and we also review to see if there's anything that belongs in the operating budget. And then with the new fiscal policies, for example, the furniture was $6,000. That didn't fall under the number that we put, but Barbara and I have the latitude to review something that we think has a life that makes it worth it, like the furniture, for example. But I will say that this year, the initial capital request came in very low. And I was almost looking early on to move things from further out in to try to sort of spread the pain out over the years. But then we ended up having some other things come up that we didn't anticipate, and this is where the fluid aspect of it, that made us have to go back to, okay, now we have to go back to this original sort of light ask. We didn't have a huge ask this year in capital until, as we started progressing, and you'll see some DPW things came up that we had not originally been put in the request.
Now, this vehicle, we're gonna outfit for $350,000 for another 10 years out of it. Could we have bought a used vehicle that, say, is 5 years old, maybe for $450,000 that are in much better shape, that maybe we only needed to put in $70,000 and we'd get?
I've looked into the used vehicle market, and it's very poor. If something halfway decent for a decent price comes in, it's gone very quickly. And just in the history here, our current ladder truck was a used purchase, and it just was not a good long-term vehicle. We had to put a lot of money into that truck that we didn't anticipate, and it just, you don't know what you're gonna get. And personally, I just feel terrible asking firefighters to depend on something we bought secondhand. When the department gets rid of a major piece of apparatus, they're getting rid of it for a reason. And then they don't have to, we might not necessarily know what that reason is. And unfortunately, with our ladder truck, several years later, we found out.
That's not something you trade, basically, unless you know it's too expensive to replace.
Vehicles are not usually something you want to do.
I did look
Wouldn't
into
recommend
it
anybody
at
buy
the request of the fire chief, and the used market just wasn't there. Every now and then you might get lucky because of a department down south consolidated, and they're getting rid of some very shiny, beautiful vehicles, but it just doesn't happen a whole lot. And then the timing, it's not like, I can just say, go to the website and type in our credit card and say, we'll take it.
Yeah.
It's a process, and by the time that process is really coming through, the truck's gone, because other places might be able to purchase it a little quicker.
yeah, our procurement process would really
Yes.
hinder his ability to competitively bid a used vehicle. Because might get stuck with something he didn't want.
Okay. Gotta ask though, I mean, at least
No.
it's considered.
Yeah. it's-
No, it's unfortunate, yeah.
So can I just clarify the length, the amount of time additional you think that the repairs are going to give
I think
another
as it
10?
stands now, this truck would probably give us 20 years, which is
Total.
another 4 years. I
Another
think we could
4 more.
probably get 30, up to 30 out of it after this.
If they didn't put the
Again,
money in, it would.
I'm
be-
saying that now, I really have no idea, but I think it's realistic to expect that the truck will give us 25 to 30 years of service.
Yeah, over it as a total.
Total.
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
Versus-
we're not gonna get 40 years out of the
well, when it,
truck.
again, the way it's written on the document.
Yeah.
Additional,
Additional, yeah.
asked for clarification, so I'm gonna change that to say another 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That was something else. Wow.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
And just for my purposes, because somebody might ask this, E1 pumper, it's an electric pumper, when you say E1 pumper?
E1?
Yeah. Is that a term? Because E1 is a term we use for our
For engine
for
one,
pumps.
yeah.
And I
engine,
think somebody will get
It
confused.
happens to be designated it's
Engine one.
Sturbridge Engine 1.
Oh, engine one.
E1, yeah.
E1 is emergency one, is the manufacturer. It's just
Okay,
an unfortunate
Yeah.
coincidence.
okay. Okay, so maybe we should put emergency one, or in
Emergency one
parentheses.
is. they're the
Just
manufacturer.
because,
Yeah,
you
it is.
know, we have E1 pumps.
Your
here,
E1's
somebody's
a
gonna be like,
totally
why are
different,
you
yeah.
using a sewer pump for by
So
Right.
it's a 2010 pump.
It is a 2010.
manufacturer's emergency? one?
Yes,
Yes, but it's a pumper. So
yes.
if I just say an engine 1, a 2010 pumper, that would be correct?
Well, actually, knowing the name, right, because is Emergency One still in business? I know it is.
Yeah.
Okay, because there was big consolidation in emergency.
No,
Vehicle
they're
constructors.
one of them, they're still around.
Okay, because only like 3 of them now left, right?
Yeah, there's a handful, but you know, with all that consolidation, there's newer, smaller ones starting to pop up. So maybe when we look in several years, you know, there might be additional options. But yeah, there's only a few big ones left, so it leaves you not a whole lot of choices anymore.
Any
Okay.
other questions? Okay, thanks, Lou.
Okay,
Thank you.
you.
Okay, next is the administrative vehicle for Heather Construction.
So, we do the maintenance on all the vehicles, town vehicles here even, and during review of the existing, one of the existing 2025 Ford Escapes, our mechanic came to me and
It was
said.
like 2015. because-
2015,
Yeah.
yeah, 2015. So it's over 10 years old, and it's literally rotting out from underneath them. The mileage isn't high on it, I don't care, but it's just, again, we don't want to be putting money into a vehicle like this that is literally going to fall apart. So it meets the requirements of, it's over 10 years old, which I think is what we're really saying in our vehicle replacement policies.
And I can speak to this from personal, my mother has one of these, and I just put quite a bit of money to repair it. And then she was going down the road with my brother to a doctor's appointment, and it literally broke in half.
Oh, wow.
And she got towed to Lamro Ford, and they told us it's very common with these escapes, they break in half underneath. So they're lucky they weren't killed. So it's a very common issue with the escapes.
So we're looking to replace it with another one of the Ford Mavericks. It seems to be a vehicle that everybody has liked. Also, you can't get Escapes right now after off of the state bid list. So we had to go with something that. we
Probably for that
actually-
reason.
Probably.
Yeah. So Ford Mavericks, the little mini pickup truck.
Yes.
which is convenient because conservation uses it, you know, site visits, they can get on and off properties that aren't necessarily developed. So the Maverick seems to be,
Yeah, the janitors use it
Yeah.
to move the trash from around from places, so.
Even I've been using it for planning work, so you can still fit enough people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's still
that's what I was
holds
gonna
people.
ask you
Yeah,
for
it's a
bigger
super
things.
cab,
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, they
It's
really
a-
seem to be a more universal choice for our needs in a town like ours. We have a lot of wooded area, rural area, things like that. The pickup actually is a good option.
If you fit just as many people.
Yeah, because usually, I mean, I never fit the whole thing anyway.
Yeah, you weren't putting 5 people in the other truck anyways.
but, no.
And it's an all-wheel, it's got a all-wheel drive option, so. But this is a perfect example of where I wish I could take an old Explorer from the police fleet and
Yeah,
send it over and
Have you
save us
checked the mileage
35.
on some of those to see if it meets?
I'm under the
No, I
impression
think
we
it's
can't.
because you can't replace it with a vehicle that has higher lower fuel
Right.
efficiency than the vehicle you're
Then you
replacing.
replace, right.
So it's a,
Right.
because
But if you're adding to the fleet, but you could always say, if it meets, the workaround is if it meets the fuel efficiency, you say you're adding to the fleet, and then you just let an old one drop off the fleet. I've seen some towns do that, but I don't know if those meet the fuel efficiency.
That's what I'm afraid the
Yeah.
Explorers
I
don't.
don't think they do. I think their numbers are not good enough to reuse them anyway, but,
Yeah, just, it's a shame.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so now we'll start at the top, so we have the strong building. If you could get it.
So for years, we've been talking about how we don't have enough space at DPW. So a concept, I actually was out at OSB and they had put up this lovely sprung building for storage. And I'm like, I need one of those. And he's like, oh yeah, they're not that.
Is this sprung building, is that what things look like a geodesic dome?
Yes,
Okay.
or some type of structure. It's a temporary structure, so we don't need a conservation permit. It does have to meet wind and snow loads for building, but it would be considered temporary in the eyes of conservation. And we're not putting permanent footers in the ground. It's literally lagged down like this.
I mean, I've seen towns use this for like their salt storage and stuff like that. I mean, it's not unusual.
Nope.
And you plan on using it for odds and ends, or, you know?
Yeah,
not
we'll
big
rotate
trucks?
equipment out and in as we, like, right now we store, you know, if you go down there, there's, you know, trailers and trucks and everything else that's stored outside all winter long. So as whatever we can put in there that doesn't need to be doesn't need to stay in a warm environment, that we can store more things in the winter inside, that's what we're going to do. So we'll rotate it out, and in the summer, the winter stuff will go underneath it, and in the winter, the summer stuff will go underneath it. We'll just use our storage capacity in different ways.
And how much square footage are we talking about in this bit?
The quote that I have there is a 40 by 60. I have to bid it out, so it'll be interesting when I get back to prices.
Okay, but you're looking at a pretty decent sized building, so, okay. And it's not a new concept, it's something that I've seen them in many other places. Okay,
2 storage containers.
yeah, where's the Conex?
Yes. They're the Connex boxes that you see. We have them for storage sheds in different places. They provide locking storage in us so we can put more valuable equipment in them. But again, equipment storage, cold storage, additional storage for the DPW. A Connex box is the ones that go in the back of the tractor trailer
Semi trucks, they
Yes.
kind of drop down.
Yes.
But they're usually made of steel and they
Yeah.
rot over time.
Yeah, well, again, it's a temporary solution. It's not a permanent solution.
And so $10,000 buys us too.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just your, what is it, 40 foot by 10 foot container?
Yeah.
By 8 feet high, that type of thing?
Yep, they might be a little higher than that, but yeah, they're pretty big.
Okay.
Thermal weak killing equipment.
So, it's hard to imagine, but actually in the springtime, we get a lot of comments and concerns from, the condition of our sidewalks.
I'm sorry. Hard to imagine. Oh, boy, yes.
So one of the ways to control weeds is to actually use thermal weed killer, which basically is a glorified heated pressure washer that comes on a trailer, and you heat the water, it kills the weeds, basically turns them into a brown, dead weed. And if you do it, it doesn't have, the nice thing about it is it doesn't have any chemicals, which chemical usage in this town, and getting those permits to do herbicide treatment is very complicated and not really environmentally friendly. This is a more environmentally friendly way to try to handle our weeds in our sidewalks, underneath our areas without exposing, weed whacking is very labor intensive. This is a lot less labor intensive, even if we have to do it twice a year. I still think it's a lot
More
less.
permanent too? I mean, weed whacking, your weeds going back in the next day.
Yeah.
So that's at least.
Yeah, because this is attempting to kill it more deprive it of its energy source, so.
Not to mention the occasional rock from a weed whacker
Yes,
that
that
hits
damages
cars
the
and
vehicle.
damages passing vehicles.
Well,
Since
I'm,
our major, sorry,
no, I'm-
but since the major sidewalks are within the groundwater protection district, it's a lot more environmentally conscious as well.
well, in my mind, I was thinking it was like basically a flamethrower, shooting.
No.
So I'm glad to hear it's hot water.
It's hot water, superheated water, yeah.
So everything else besides this particular unit seems typical for DPW usage. And this one here, is this a new type of technology being introduced to the
Yeah.
department? So will that require you to like impart bargaining with the union
No.
because they're gonna need additional training
Nope.
and et cetera,
Nope.
because you're introducing something
No,
new to that?
actually, this was something that was brought to me by my employees because they saw it they saw it at a trade show and they said, hey, they were sick of weed whacking. And they're like, this might be something that actually works for us. Let's, this would be, because they hear me say, we can't use chemicals. I'm like, I can't use chemicals, we can't use chemicals. We go through that whole thing. So I think
It's
this is
not an-
actually something that they're going to look like is a value added to them and reducing the, exposure to the poison ivy, whatever it may be, so.
Mhm.
they look
It's
at-
not
So it works on wood-based things like ivy.
Oh, yeah,
Barberry and things like that.
It's not an additional function for them, so it's not a labor issue and it's not a change in work condition.
it's just giving them a new tool.
A better tool, right.
And this doesn't require any special licensing fees?
Nope. Where if we did, when you do vegetation management with chemical usage, you have to have very specialized licenses. Utility body pickup. This is a replacement for one of our pickups, where we were adding a utility body, because what we have found is that we end up moving a lot of equipment in and out, instead of having it stored and ready. So this will give us like a go truck, like whether it means that we have a chainsaw already in it so that they're ready to go. When a tree comes down, we have tools in it so that it's ready to go. If they need to do some maintenance, we can have it much more readily available to increase their efficiency. So right now, if they get a call for a tree down, which besides snow and ice during regular weather, that's our main call in, they have to go get a chainsaw, make sure it's all ready, put it in the truck, make sure they have whatever else they might need, components or whatever. This will give them, they can just go to this one truck and be ready to go. It'll still be used as a plow truck and everything else, but it just will give them capacity to carry more tools around.
Okay, so then what you're basically talking about is it's going to be enclosed in the back where all the tools will be?
No, it's,
Or just the
yeah, those
chests?
side boxes that
Yes.
you see on them now.
Oh, okay, the ones that kind of
Yes.
tear up on each
Yep.
side of it,
Yep.
okay.
It's like a contractor's shop.
Yeah, now I get the picture in my head.
We're gonna have an aero board on it. That's something that we have added. We actually got a couple off of grants, and they're actually providing an extra layer of safety on them.
A robot?
An aero board, so it's on the back. Instead of just having blinking, flashing lights, it actually has the ability to direct somebody around you, like you see with the truck.
Oh, it's got the arrows that point you.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, got you. When you said aero, I was thinking like aerodynamic, but you meant arrow.
No, and we're not gonna send anybody standing back there shooting at people either.
Okay.
We bought a bow.
So sidewalk plow machine.
So, again, onto sidewalks. We get a lot of requests in the winter, and this winter has been crazy for our clearing of our sidewalks. So the equipment, there are two pieces of equipment that we utilize to clear sidewalks. One is a small little John Deere tractor that is basically homeowner grade. The nice thing about it is it fits on the narrower sidewalks. The other one is a skid steer, it does not fit on the narrow sidewalks. We have a skid steer, we have a snow blower in front of it, and a bucket. The skid steer works great where there's no telephone poles and the sidewalks are 5 feet wide. It doesn't work at all going down Route 20. So this machine is actually designed for sidewalks to do it, so it's more specialized to be sidewalks that will have a plow on it like we do now, but it'll also come with a snow blower, which we do have a snow blower attachment to the other one. The other one just isn't reliable, has broken multiple times. It was purchased thinking that it would do something that it can't handle, but it couldn't handle the 2 large storms we got this winter. I had to hire outside to do them, which isn't extremely efficient because I have to kind of wait on timing of that, so.
Other than town-owned property, why are we doing anybody's sidewalks? They should, I mean, isn't it the property owner's responsibility to clear the sidewalks in front of their premises?
I have
or
been
businesses?
directed by the select board to do the sidewalks at all times.
And did anyone ask how much money that's costing over?
I could probably figure it out.
We've expressed that there's a cost to it, certainly.
And their
Yeah, but
position
did you
is
put a
that
dollar
because
figure
of-
to that cost? Because I could imagine
Well,
it's pretty big.
I will say it's hard to put an actual dollar because you'd have to figure out, they would have to do town sidewalk, stop at the private sidewalk, go
Right.
around, get back to town. And so I haven't calculated like per mile of sidewalk, how much the cost per, I'd have to figure out the cost per mile of sidewalk and then deduct the private areas. I will say the one, even if you enforced the private sidewalk question, getting the privates done does not always happen. So they
Yeah, but
would
you do
still
like
have.
Worcester, they get 24 hours, you start finding
Yeah,
them.
yeah, and I could tell you that the fines typically, in a lot of communities, the fines are not enough to force someone to do
Yeah,
it.
the
They
fine
don't do
structure
it.
there wouldn't.
Yeah. The fine structure, nobody would do it for the fine structure. I'm not
You
just.
could adjust it.
Well,
I mean, you
yes.
can make this practical. You know, isn't Worcester like, it's like, you get 1 day, and then if it's 3 days later, the fine doubles, and then if it's a week later, it doubles, and then it goes daily? I mean, so by the end of that, we get a lien on the property.
Well, yeah, but again, if.
I mean, it's not practical, it sounds like a thing, but I mean, I mean, there's a lot of
I would suggest.
linear feet of sidewalks on Route 20 that we're doing.
It's a discussion we have had with the board. We've pretty aggressively had this discussion with the select board.
Their feeling is that in order to be pro-business, that we need to do this and be a walkable community, we need to do this.
Yep. And they do have concerns about people who wheelchair accessibility and whatnot, that if the private person doesn't do it, even if we fine them and made money, the Route 20 is not a safe place for somebody to be going up the sidewalk. But, I mean, it's a question we have asked, it's a concern we have expressed, and I certainly welcome you to express it as well.
I mean, that's their policy.
That's a conversation to a select board.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean,
I just need to be able to give.
you need to be able to do it if you're being told to do
That-
it.
I need the tools to be able to do it.
We can't do what we don't have the tools to do.
Yeah.
And we contracted this year because, you know what, if it's gonna get done and we have to do it, that was the only choice.
And how much was the contract?
It's like $5,000 a day, and it takes like 2 days.
So,
$10,000.
Some of it we would have had to have done anyway on our own sidewalks. I mean, that's not just for the difference of the private, just to be clear.
no, I know, but that's still, I mean, it's additional cost above and beyond what equipment we do have at the moment that's just sitting idle, so we can't use it.
Well, we do.
The skid steer,
We do the skid
131.
side of
Yeah.
steer on 131. That's just Route 20, and that's just the skinny part of Route 20. And we did use it. We've definitely done the sidewalks with our own equipment, probably 4 or 5 times, in addition to the 2 times that we've had somebody come in.
And I will tell you that,
So on a
like, you know, with the
2-inch
new
huge
yeah.
storm, we can do it.
So, I guess I go back to the policy itself. If they want to give taxpayers a tax break, why don't they consider what's sitting right in front of their face?
You'd have to talk to the board. It really is, I'm not trying to be flip, Kevin.
No,
It's a
no, I
policy-
understand. It's their
It's a policy
decision.
decision, and it's,
As much as we have tried to say,
Okay.
it's a big impact on my department, trust me.
No, I know, I know having the right equipment to do the right job makes a huge difference in productivity. So, I hear you talking there.
So, we're looking to replace our leaf back. This one would be on a trailer mounted leaf back, which will allow us to use our new leaf box much easier than our existing. The existing one basically can't mount onto the way we have it. We have to buy a whole separate trailer for it. So this is a pretty cost-effective, replaces a 10-year-old piece of equipment that is not optimized for what we would need it to be able to use the leaf box that we have.
And this is not like the vacuum that sucks out of storm water.
No, this is just for
purely
leaves.
leaves.
Yep. I have a picture of it if you want to see.
Yeah,
it.
got it.
You don't.
Oh, okay. And where you drag this behind a small vehicle or
Yep.
something that sucks up?
Yep. So with our hook truck that we have a leaf box that goes on the back of it, and then that will attach it to it. Our mechanic's car is actually one of those old police vehicles. It's at the point where we can't even get it to keep the engine light off, so it's very hard to get inspected sometimes, so it's literally starting to fall apart. Had over 144,000 miles on it as of September. Obviously, we still use it for people to go to training because it's not a pickup truck that they have to cram in the back of, so 4 or 5 people can get in it pretty simple. They use it to go get equipment, to run with parts, to run with, repairs of equipment too.
So $55,000 seems like a really reasonable price. So, are we talking like a Outback?
No, it's an Explorer,
It is?
It's a baseline. yeah.
baseline Explorer, with just a couple of lights on it, and we're gonna get it undercoated, plus a radio.
Okay. That's a shocking number for a municipal vehicle. Okay, traffic message signboard.
So our signboard, I don't even know if I figured out how old it was, but,
Is this the one we see in front of the police department?
no, it's not the one you see in front of the police department, that's the police signboard. We have our own, usually it's out, like, closer to where my sign is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like right there. We use it for messaging. A lot of times we have to use it for water department messaging for when we go into our water bans, or we'll use it for we'll bring it to a place that we know we're having construction done so that we get people, we can tell them, oh, hello, detour up ahead, coming, or beware of construction. Just various things throughout the year, but I can tell you part of the problem with it, we have a really hard time keeping it operating and running. It's just getting to that age, it's almost like a DOS-based computer system. And it doesn't like to always run. It seems to be giving us more problems than actual running, so it's obviously just
And what are we talking
times.
about the size? Is it like for like replacement or something?
Yeah, it's
Biggest
basically like for
size?
like.
We talked about trying to share the police one, see if we could share, but the reality is, like with the water bans, we have requirements by law of how much, that we have to post and
Right.
whatnot, and then that would take the police one totally offline for a good portion of the summer, so.
Yeah, it's 70 inches high by 127 inches wide. 3 lines, basically the same, just newer solar panels.
More
newer-
efficient.
Yeah, just, they get old.
Yeah. Especially sitting in UV all the time.
Yeah.
So the recycle center has an existing want to call it a Bobcat, but a small,
Yeah, Bobcat's a small little,
loader type thing.
Yeah.
That one is on its last legs and needed major work on it, and my mechanic was, again, like, I think we should just replace this thing. So we also looked at what else we would need down there, and one of the things that we do on that landfill is mow it a couple times a year, and it's gonna be ongoing forever, because you have to keep it mowed. And with our slopes getting as they are, we don't have the correct type of equipment to really mow on that steep slope. So we designed this one with the tracks that can tow a mower behind, so that we'll be able to use it for mowing operations, as well as what they use it for at the recycle center.
will it be interchangeable between tracks and wheels, or just gonna be
It's
tracks?
just tracks.
Now, will the brush hog mower come with it, or is that something already
No,
have?
it's in the cost for that.
Okay. So brine treatment, brine production?
So the next two are, right, they're together, right? Okay. So in the beginning of the year, when it started to snow as much as this year has happened, Robin asked me to look into what we would need to do to do brine here. So I started to do a little research. We had the ability to buy brine if we had the treatment capacity of the tanks actually to go in the back of the trucks, which you can get the tranks. That's what the treatment is. So what the treatment is 2 truck mounted, one for our swap loader, because that's the easiest one to go on and off. The new swap loader we have it mounted up to swap loader, all set to go. We could mount it on, fill the tank, go out and treat. The other one would have to be mounted on a trailer to be pulled around, or in the back, it would go in the back of one of the trucks.
So basically you're taking, instead of having solid salt, it's
You're
now
taking liquid
salt.
salt, it's in a solution, you treat it, the state does it on all the state roads, some of the other communities are doing it on the community roads. The benefit is, you make a salt solution, you get higher, because what we're doing when we pre-treat the roads is we're actually prepping them to do their own salt solution on the road. But you get salt loss, because it's not a one-to-one conversion. Now you're taking that step out, you're putting the salt solution on the road, you already have that salt layer on the road that already has melted. Now when it falls, you already have that built-in pre-treatment already there. It also is more effective. Based on the research, you use less salt when you pre-treat in this method than whether than using a dry method, because it's better coverage, pound of salt per lane mile. Like, you get a more efficient application, I guess you could say. The other benefit is it can be done much further ahead of the storm than what we can do now. So hopefully we can do it on regular time versus overtime, which is considerable. It's going to be a learning curve. I'm not going to say it's not, but other people are doing it. I mean, there's a lot of literature out there, so that's not the scary part of it.
If I could just jump in for a second, I've worked in a community that had it. It's very efficient. The first inch or two of snow basically melts when you have brine, because as Heather said, it's not requiring that process to happen when the water hits the salt we put down. The other thing is that cars, once they drive over that salt, some of it starts to dissipate a little bit when you pre-treat. This, once you lay it down, and anybody who's interested or listening, when you're driving on a state road or in certain towns, you see almost like 4 stripes before a storm. That's the brine.
Right.
And so that already is processing. It also can be used in far lower temperatures than salt. Salt is not effective below a certain temperature, whereas brine goes to a lower temp. So that storm we had 2 weeks ago, not the last blizzard, the storm before that, when the temperature really was plummeting before the storm, that brine has a better shot of being effective than your salt, which, again, the salt blows all over the place anyway, and you lose some of it.
So in all my questions have nothing to do with the effectiveness, it's actually the effects of it outside. So, right, I already know in my personal well, I have a problem when after the winter, my salt
Yep.
of my well goes way up.
Yep.
And This is now a liquid form of the salt instead of the solid one. You're gonna make it easier to penetrate.
So actually, it's supposed to be less pounds of salt per application, because what we talk about, that salt loss of when you're not getting as an efficient of treatment. It's supposed to be less pounds of salt used overall versus if you're using just dry salt.
And how much more attractive is this to deer to come to the side of the road to try and get to it? Don't laugh, I see it all the time.
I've never heard of an issue, I mean, I haven't heard of an increased deer issue with.
I haven't heard anything about that,
Yeah.
but it could be something I can research.
Yeah,
I'll have to-
I haven't heard, yeah, I haven't heard that.
I mean, they would be just as attracted to the solid
Oh,
salt
yeah, they
that's
are.
on the side as, this isn't gonna be solid, this is gonna be, you know,
It's just liquid, yeah.
right, it is.
There's nothing for them to
so-
nibble up, for example, like with the salt, they'd be attracted to something that they can nibble, but I
Yeah,
haven't seen one out licking the roads yet, so.
I haven't asked them.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean,
They
I
go after
think
regular
That's a great
salt.
question, I just.
East Brookfield is already using this technology. I mean, I can definitely ask him if he's ever run into something like that, but
And the town I was in was a little less rural, they had rural areas, but I never did hear of
No.
issues in there.
One of I want to assume the side effects of this too is that, like, after the road dries, after the storm, and the roads look like they've been painted white, and as car traffic goes over it, you get clouds and clouds of salt.
we already have that.
Not to the extent of sealing. This stuff is used on the road.
I think that might be an over application rate at that point then, because it shouldn't be like that. I mean, I've seen our roads look white from us salting them.
Yeah, I've never seen the cloud effect, but there are times you go on certain roads, especially when the state does it,
Yeah.
and cars drive through and it looks like you're going through a fog.
Well, they
cloud.
also over salt.
Even salt,
It's
yes.
regular salt.
Yeah.
Their application rates for salt and how much salt they put down, that's why their roads are wet when we're still out plowing. We don't have that much salt to be able to put out, so.
Well, and I think this is the other thing, the salt, ability to get salt sometimes is a little restrictive. We will be able to produce, store, and I think, I mean, you're still gonna need to get salt, and if you have a lot of days of storms, you're gonna run short on salt, and we're at the mercy of when it can get to us. But if we're using a lesser amount to produce, we're a little less at the whims of what's the availability, will last long. What we get, we can fill up our capacity and last longer than we are now. And like, you know, Heather said, I mean, the one thing for me, I, on a Friday afternoon, saw it on a state road in Rhode Island, and I thought to myself, it was already done. The storm wasn't coming in until 8 o'clock at night that night. It was 2 o'clock and the strikes were down. And I thought that would have been all on regular time, as opposed to having to call guys in at 8:30, 9 o'clock, because things are starting to ice up.
So when we come in to pre-treat, it's 6 trucks
Okay.
for our minimum.
But if you could do that on regular time.
But if we could do the town with 2 trucks during the 8-hour day, the day before, it's a lot less.
Yeah, no,
Even if you had to come in, you know, it's a lot less manpower, you're reducing your manpower right there.
Yeah.
I'll go to my thing, any formalized treatment or licensing needed to do this kind
Nope,
of line
it's
generation?
gonna be training and how to apply and how, you know, the key in it is how to mix it and then make sure that your application rate is correct. And obviously that they're traveling at the right rate of speed, because it's based on how fast you're going is how much is going down.
And because of the early belief, the general consensus that it's less environmentally harmful, we don't have major conservation like licensing or restrictions from the DEP on it.
Okay, that's good to know. I was gonna ask. about
Yeah,
that.
no, it's not a DEP
In the
issue.
watershed areas right
Yeah.
now.
Yes, generally, I think if the application rate is right, then it's less impactful.
Yeah, it
Because you
should be
don't have
less
all the
pounds
blowing
of
off the
salt
side,
per
right.
lane mile than if they're applying it and using it correctly, yes. Calibration is a big thing.
And this is, I always remember you talking, well, maybe it was your predecessor, where there were some of the trucks had the drop downs in the middle,
Yes.
so that would provide traction for going up and down. This wouldn't affect that at all. This
No.
is just purely pre-treatment.
This is pre-treatment. There are places that are using it as, post-treatment. We could potentially use it post-treatment too, you know, like after we plow and then we don't want the roads
Something
to
ices,
freeze
yeah.
type of thing.
Mhm.
You can use it on that type of situation. There are places that are trying to use it as just their treatment. I don't see us going to that. I think we're still gonna be using our
There's
plow
to be
trucks with
plows,
salt.
yes.
And we have some mid-section sanders for our hills, you're right. They have their own problems though. They're the ones that tend to fall apart the quickest because of what they're getting exposed to. But they have their benefits when you have to go down dowdy roads, so.
Yeah.
And the second part of this is the production and storage. So this is where you take the salt, dump it in, you add the water, you mix it up at the right concentrations, and then you have a storage tank that you have prepped so that when you need to go out, you fill your tank, you come back, you fill it again, and you go out again. So it gives us the ability to actually,
How does the tank keep the salt in suspension if it's there for a long time?
it actually is just in solution, so it doesn't,
It never falls out?
no.
And I will say, I would support doing it with the storage as opposed to just going out and having to buy it from somebody, being on the whims of what's available. For the investment of $60,000, it's.
No,
Well,
it's
when I
actually
was,
with-
when I was looking at it for the solids of the tanks that we're looking for, we would only be able to do a very limited amount of roads because
Yeah.
you'd never get back and
You
forth
wouldn't get
in
enough,
one day
yeah.
to refill your tank. So if we're gonna do this, the
Yeah.
way to do it is to start out with 2. If we think we need a 3rd, then we'll look at the 3rd in the future. But let's start with the 2 and see how much we can
And
get done in
storage.
one day, with the 2 different tanks, so.
Okay.
Obviously prioritizing certain areas. We won't be doing it on our private roads. We don't usually pre-treat them.
That's another story.
I think that's all of mine. Did I miss anything?
That's plenty.
I think so.
So this is actually a little less than last year's number.
Well, yeah, we bought a ladder last year, I believe. What did we buy last year? Or an engine. We had a major purchase in
Right.
capital, $1 million purchase, yeah.
It wasn't the ladder, it was next year.
Oh, you had 2 big trucks last year.
Yeah, DPW had 2 large trucks.
Some of them were articles.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I see there's some capital coming through articles, but
Yes.
Yes,
they're not anything.
I just tried to give you everything that I knew at this point.
Well, I got it here and ask, that underground storage tank replacement, that's finally the answer for all the gas problems, the gas tank leakage? That's,
Yes.
isolate all that? Okay.
Any other questions? Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to support the 17 items requested on the capital plan as shown on the documents Barbara provided, using $1,360,927,000 from free cash.
I'll second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's nothing else, there a motion to adjourn?
Who's for adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Kevin.
Oh.